It's time for the latest installment of Allie's Book Club. Joining us is the Allie in the title. Alice Kuiper is joining us from her home office. So wonderful to speak with you again today.
Hi, I've migrated up from the basement.
Oh, well, fancy.
The children are at the playground, so I'm hoping to get a few minutes to chat with you without interruption.
All right, and I know it's a busy household because you've got lots going on, including kids prepping to go back to school. Speaking of school, maybe people have been studying some of the books we talked about. Before we talk about today's books, what kind of feedback have you gotten on some of the other selections in Allie's Book Club?
Well, I think people really enjoyed Sarah O'Leary's A Ghost in a House, this idea of a woman haunting her old house after she passes, and seeing what it's like for a partner to be in a new relationship, I think resonated on a level with a lot of people.
Good stuff. All right. Well, we're glad we're making those kind of connections. And let's connect now with a new book from an Indigenous author called Blackwater. What can you tell us about Blackwater?
So David A. Robertson is an extraordinary writer from Winnipeg. He is well known for his books for children and his graphic novels. His picture book, When We Were Alone, won the Governor General's Award. In this book, Blackwater, he takes a journey with his father to visit his father's trapline. And it's been 7 decades since his father has made this journey. And so it's a beautifully written exploration of what we remember, what we know, what we don't know. His father remembers the route, even though it's been so long since he's been there. And Dave discovers his history partly through that journey, but partly through a journey that takes many years to go from a place of not knowing he was Indigenous, not wanting to be Indigenous necessarily or understand what that would mean, because his family decided that because of racism, it was better for him not to make that connection, to it becoming a profound part of his identity and his work that I think is actually really important in Canada right now. Reconciliation is a word that's thrown about, but I think that when authors take on topics like this exploration of identity and who they are in Canada, I think it gives an opportunity for all of us to read and learn and grow. And then it's just beautifully written. It's a great book.
And it's interesting, too, about, traveling the trap line. I know that, radio host and journalist Duncan McHugh has also written a book recently dealing with, following his family's trap line. And so obviously you've got that physical route, but obviously, as you mentioned, a journey of the mind, a journey of the soul. And it's not a new template, but obviously being, interpreted in a different kind of way.
I think what Dave does so well with his writing is he makes it extraordinarily accessible. You could fall into this book and be happily reading it up at the lake I was. And yet the resonance of it, the way the story lingers afterwards, is because of his real deep thought into what's blood memory. What does it mean to arrive in a place? So he's Norway House Swampy Cree, and he arrives there at Norway House for the first time, and yet feels connected to the land in a way that he takes time in the book to explore and understand, and asks his father questions. But he also talks about what he remembers, what his dad remembers, what his mum remembers, and how that story can be different for everyone. So it's a very honest memoir.
And is there, I don't want to give away or ask you to give away too much, but is there a lot built into the title of the book, Blackwater? So
I think what's so interesting about a title like that is it has other layers and other meaning. Blackwater is the place where the trapline is. And yet I think for all of us who have maybe dealt with complicated issues, or certainly David Robertson talks about anxiety, there's a resonance there of that black water, of that feeling of anxiety. Certainly for me, that's what it meant. And then too, the title is the things that are beneath, what you don't know, what you see on top and what's underneath. So I think it's actually an extraordinarily well-titled book. And I think in a book group that were people to spend time talking and thinking about this, if they were able to have a book group, maybe a social distance one, or through Zoom, this is a very important book right now here in Canada.
All right, understood. Now let's move on to our local author, and it's someone who I believe has sort of a breakthrough book. I can't remember how many years ago, but it was called Sightlines. And how do I pronounce Leona's last name?
Leona Tice. So
Okay, there you go.
I met Leona 17 years ago when I moved to Saskatchewan, and she brought me over meat sauce, which, coming from London, to have somebody I'd never met before bringing me food was a little alarming. She is an unassuming and extraordinary person. And so as I discovered that she wrote, I have become an avid fan of her work. I've watched her career over the years and seen how she has managed to spend so much time mentoring. She works with the NFA program here, and yet she has time to create an extraordinary book like this. So her new novel is called If Sylvie Had 9 Lives. It has a lovely cover that reflects a river, and then throughout the book, you have these pages which may be difficult to see through Zoom.
Yeah, no, I saw that, yeah.
They show the different paths that Sylvie's life could have taken. So this is a book of what if. What if Sylvie had made a different decision? What if she hadn't done this? What if she had done this? And so it takes a ordinary woman who is somehow extraordinary because of the choices she makes. So one river path might take you through 1979 this way, and then yet the other path you see in this beautiful visual that Sylvie's life has taken a very different direction. The writing is gorgeous and funny in a dark way, and subtle in Leona's real strength. She's an author that here in Saskatchewan, I think if you don't know her work, it's worth your book group taking time to get to know her, or maybe just settle in, curl up with a coffee and discover what if, because it makes you think, what if I'd made a different choice, which I think all of us think.
You know, it's not exactly analogous to It's a Wonderful Life, but so many people are familiar with that as a what if story, and this sounds like it's what if times 9. So it sounds fascinating, and it's always fascinating to speak with you about books. And people can go onto your website. Where can they find Alice Kuipers?
So it's alicekuipers.com, and I'm working with my website designer to get a page up. So all of these links to all of these book group conversations will be there, with some questions about each of the books, so that people can spend a bit more time looking at those books and seeing the books that I'm really enjoying and loving with you. So that will be in the next couple of weeks. We'll get that ready. That
is lovely. So once again, great talking to you, and enjoy September if you can.
Yeah. I can't even think about September, I know. Apart from the books. Enjoy the books. I don't know what September's going to look like, but enjoy the books. Thank you so much.